I were to inform you that the most effective method of regaining your erections does not include expensive treatments, medicines, or procedures, but rather something so mundane and so commonplace that you have disregarded it your entire life, what would you say? Gentlemen, the reality of the situation is as follows. Drinking water in the wrong way could be the reason why your performance is gradually deteriorating without you even being aware of it, because the difference between a weak, unreliable erection and a strong, enduring one could be as simple as water. My name is Dr. Mohit Kara. For more than 30 years, I have dedicated my life to assisting guys such as yourself in restoring their self-confidence, their energy, and their sexual health. I am a urologist. I have witnessed with my own two eyes that the tiniest behaviors in your daily routine, which are often overlooked by most guys, can have a significant impact on the performance of your body. The contradiction is shown at this point. While every guy is aware that he needs water to survive, nearly no man is aware of the fact that the way you drink it has a direct impact on your ability to get and maintain an erection. It would seem so, wouldn't it? However, the scientific evidence is unambiguous. Your blood flow, testosterone levels, and even your energy levels are all affected by the manner in which you consume water. Because of that, I am giving you a pledge today. You can increase the quality of your erections by as much as 193% if you follow the instructions that I am about to provide you. There are no prescriptions or gimmicks. Only water. When used correctly, I will explain the 4 basic water drinking habits that the vast majority of guys have never ever heard of within a few minutes. However, once you start using them, you will feel the difference in your energy levels, your self-confidence, and your performance in the bedroom. Pay close attention to what I have to say next, because it could alter everything for you. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to our channel and enable notifications if you have not done so already. This way, you will never miss another advice that is intended to assist guys over the age of 60 remain healthy, strong, and confident. I would be delighted to hear back from you. Simply leave a remark and write 1 if you think this movie is of any use. If you do not, input 0, and let me know how I may be of further assistance to you. Now, let's start with the basic bedrock, the importance of water and how it impacts people more than they may realize. Before we discuss hormones or timing, we must first comprehend blood flow. After all, at the end of the day, an erection is nothing more than a hydraulic event, and water is its most essential fuel. Okay, I am going to address each of your concerns one at a time. The importance of water and how it impacts people more than they may realize. I frequently pose a question to the males in my office that catches them off guard. These men are in their 60s and 70s and meet my gaze as they silently admit that their erections are not what they once were. How much water are you consuming, and in what manner are you consuming it? They laugh at me the majority of the time, as if I were kidding. They anticipate that I will discuss medicines or testosterone therapy rather than something as commonplace as water. However, this is the truth. More than 60% of your body is made up of water, and your penis is not an exception to this rule. Hydration is necessary for every cell, every vessel, and every nerve fiber that enables you to experience desire, arousal, and performance. Consider an erection for the remarkable phenomenon that it actually is, an incident involving hydraulics. The chambers of the penis are filled with blood, pressure builds up, and a rigid structure is formed. There is no erection when there is no blood flow. Reduced blood flow, reduced erection quality. And what substance is found in the greatest quantity in your blood? H2O blood flows rapidly and efficiently through your veins and is light and smooth when you are hydrated. It resembles a clear river moving across a valley that is open on all sides. Your heart doesn't have to work as hard. Your circulation thrives, and oxygen is transported to the locations where it is needed, including the tissues that make up your penis. However, the situation is different if you are suffering from a lack of fluids. Your blood grows thicker, almost as if it had a sticky consistency. It does not move with ease, and circulation is sluggish. Just performing the fundamental task of keeping you alive requires your heart to work much more. It is at those moments when your body is in need of a rush of blood, when your body demands a firm erection, that it simply cannot provide it. At that point, guys become aware of a discrepancy, a decrease in the degree of hardness and stamina, and, in certain cases, the total lack of an erection. I have encountered patients who have placed the blame for their condition on their age, or even worried that their manhood was beginning to wane, only to discover that their actual issue was considerably less complicated. They were not drinking water on a regular basis, and when they did drink it, they were drinking it incorrectly. After they made the adjustment, their energy increased, their erections grew more powerful, and their self-confidence returned to normal. Furthermore, I would like you to consider this as more than just medical counsel. I would like you to consider it as a personal reassurance. There is nothing wrong with you. Your body can achieve more than you believe it can, but it needs the proper foundation to do so. Therefore, before you start to consider complicated therapies, or before you believe that your situation is simply the result of becoming older, you should ask yourself the question, is the blood in your body truly circulating as it should be? Because if water can convert blood, and blood is essential to getting and maintaining an erection, then drinking water in the proper manner may be the most frequently missed answer that men have been eagerly awaiting. And this is not only powerful since hydration has an impact on more than just circulation. It alters your hormones, your energy level, and even your mood. Let us investigate that next. A T-test is a statistical test that is used to compare the means of two different groups, the association between testosterone and staying hydrated. This is one of the first things that I relay to my patients. Erections are not solely dependent on blood flow. They are also related to hormones. Among all of the hormones, testosterone is the most dominant one. Everything is in a state of flux if it is absent. Desire diminishes, vitality vanishes, mood undergoes a change, and erections become less reliable. I have listened to numerous guys who are in their 60s and 70s sit across from me, asking why they feel like they are older than their actual age. There are situations when the cause is not aging itself, but rather something else related to age. It is dehydration, which is causing their testosterone levels to gradually decrease. 3. The dollar amounts that are rounded to the nearest $10,000 are as follows: $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, and $100,000. It functions in this manner. When your body is properly hydrated, all of its activities run more smoothly. Your liver and kidneys are two of the many organs in your body that are able to effectively handle hormones. The signaling in your brain is working correctly, your stress levels are well regulated, and your testosterone levels are stable. The moment your body becomes dehydrated, however, it enters survival mode. It feels as though someone has flipped a switch. Your body only has one concern at the moment: to keep you alive. That indicates that it directs its resources toward the maintenance of blood pressure, the regulation of body temperature, and the protection of your most vital processes. I'm afraid that your reproductive system does not meet the necessary standards. Even more concerning is the fact that cortisol, the primary stress hormone produced by the body, surges when someone is dehydrated. Imagine that cortisol and testosterone are positioned at opposite ends of a seesaw. An increase in cortisol levels necessarily leads to a decrease in testosterone levels. I have noticed that guys who come into my office looking anxious, exhausted, and withdrawn are often not only dehydrated, but are also living in a chronic condition of cortisol overload. How would you describe the sensations that accompany low levels of testosterone? It feels like a kind of exhaustion that won't go away, such as a lack of interest in sexual activity, resembling a mist that envelops your thoughts. There are even some males who describe the feeling as being like a shadow version of themselves. However, there is some good news. You can use the lever of hydration immediately. It is free, it is accessible, and it has the potential to make a positive impact in a shorter amount of time than you might expect. You provide your body with the support it needs to regain its sense of self by maintaining cortisol at lower levels, keeping testosterone at appropriate levels, and keeping stress under control when you drink water appropriately. It is very uncommon for me to see guys recover their drive, confidence, and spark just by bringing their lives back into balance through the process of rehydration. This connection's true power level is demonstrated in this way. Therefore, the next time you feel exhausted, irritable, or apathetic toward romance, do not simply assume that it is due to your age. It is that your body is silently crying out for water, silently imploring for an opportunity to reset its hormones. And if testosterone can be restored through hydration, what other elements can be restored this way? The answer is dependent on the stamina and energy levels that you possess. Let's explore how water has the power to transform the way that you feel on a daily basis. 3. The dollar amounts that are rounded to the nearest $10,000 are as follows: $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, and $100,000. Energy, exhaustion, and erections. When I am sitting across the table from guys who are in their 60s or 70s, I frequently hear the same vocabulary. "I am very exhausted, doctor. By the time nighttime rolls around, I have neither the energy nor the enthusiasm to be intimate with someone." Many of these individuals are of the opinion that the cause of their feelings is merely the burden of advancing years. However, I always pose a question that is easy to answer. Have you been drinking enough water? Since the sensation of aging could actually be the result of dehydration robbing you of your vigor, the 4 in this context is a reference to the 4th step in the process of building the 2018 Chevrolet Silverado. Even a small amount of water loss, as little as 1 or 2% of your body weight, can cause you to feel exhausted, dizzy, or have difficulty concentrating. Picture your body like an engine that is operating with insufficient lubrication. The components begin to grind, the performance begins to falter, and soon everything comes to a halt. That is precisely the effect that dehydration has on your body. When your cells are crying for fluid and your body no longer has any energy left to drive passion or performance, that is when you are operating on empty. It will always prioritize first the urge to survive and second, the urge to seek. I have witnessed men who believed that they were losing their manhood and thought that their spark had vanished completely. They then discovered that their bodies were actually in desperate need of water. They observed that they were able to see a significant difference once they began to drink water in a manner that was more appropriate for staying hydrated, drinking small amounts of water throughout the day, rather than taking large gulps. Their minds were sharper, their afternoons felt lighter, and they had a more steady supply of energy. Their bodies were truly strong and resilient enough to adapt to the moment when it arrived at night. It did not turn out to be a wonder medication. It was merely re-establishing the balance that nature had originally intended. Enjoyment of intimate moments is not the only thing that fatigue precludes you from experiencing. It nibbles away at your self-confidence. It forces you to doubt your own capabilities, to question your previous enjoyment of certain situations, and to be reluctant to participate in them again. This is the harsh reality of the situation, when in actuality the issue is as straightforward as not providing their bodies with enough water to function properly. Many men blame their age. I inform my patients that your energy is not the only thing that is affected when you are feeling exhausted. It is your spirit. You start to feel as though you are not truly you anymore. You start to feel as though you are dead within. However, the aspect that I am most enthusiastic about is this one. Your body reacts rapidly when you first start to stay hydrated in a consistent and appropriate manner. You start to feel more energetic, your tiredness begins to dissipate, and your self-confidence starts to come back. Intimacy is no longer perceived as a burden once that occurs. It feels like happiness once more. Therefore, if hydration can indeed replenish energy and dissipate the thick haze of exhaustion, what occurs when we consider the manner in which you are actually consuming water? I can assure you that the majority of guys are doing it incorrectly, and that simple error could be the source of a decrease in their performance. The 4 in this context is a reference to the 4th step in the process of building the 2018 Chevrolet Silverado, drinking water, the incorrect method. Over the years, I have seen several guys walk into my office and boast to me, "Doctor, I drink plenty of water, so hydration can't be my problem." They sit back with a sense of self-assurance, believing that they have already completed that step. However, when I investigate further, I frequently discover that the quantity of water they consume is not the factor that is preventing them from making progress. The way in which they consume it is what matters. This gentleman is an example of one of those forgotten facts regarding your health. It is possible to drink water on a daily basis and still be dehydrated in areas that are of the utmost importance. I remember one patient more than the rest. He was 71 years old, mentally alert, healthy in many respects, and frustrated beyond words. He told me that he would chug an entire bottle of ice-cold water 2 or 3 times a day, and that despite this, he still felt tired, sluggish, and dissatisfied with his performance when I asked him to make the only change to his routine be the way that he drank, sipping slowly, spacing it out, and choosing water at room temperature instead of ice cold, he returned weeks later almost stunned. He spoke in a straightforward manner. "I had no idea that it could have so much of an impact, doctor." However, it did so. Here is the reason. Your body is not able to absorb water adequately when you quickly gulp it down. A significant portion of it passes through your system quickly, causing you to sprint toward the restroom rather than providing energy to your cells. Consuming huge quantities right before going to bed? That just serves to disrupt your sleep, which reduces testosterone levels and hampers your functioning. Additionally, drinking cold water may feel good, but it compels your body to use energy to heat it up, which diverts resources from circulation and digestion. These minor errors accumulate over time, leaving men fatigued, bloated, or even worse, still suffering from dehydration despite drinking fluids throughout the day. You don't have to blame yourself if you've been doing this. The vast majority of men have never been informed that, similar to medicine, water has both a correct and an incorrect manner of consumption. However, when you look at it closely, it is easy to understand. Your body is not built to be able to deal with huge amounts of water all at once. It is meant to provide hydration in a consistent and careful manner that supports every organ, every hormone, and yes, every erection. The truth of the matter is that merely drinking more water is not sufficient. You must consume it in such a way that your body is able to fully utilize it. When you do, the difference might be very astounding at times. This gets me to the most important part of this whole message, the practices that demonstrate the correct technique for you to consume water. The ones that most guys have never heard of yet are in dire need of knowing about. Show that the following statement is true for any natural number n. 2n plus 2. 2 and 2 is divisible by 8, the correct method for consuming water, in order to improve erections. After spending years listening to men express the difficulties they are experiencing, I can tell you this: the issue is almost never that they are not consuming water. The fact of the matter is that nobody ever took the time to show them how it should be done correctly. And certainly, there is a correct method. Drinking water in the right way can make the difference between feeling exhausted and sluggish and feeling refreshed, balanced, and ready when the time comes. It might seem too simplistic to be of any significance, yet I have witnessed lives transform when men make adjustments to just a few minor habits. Taking small sips rather than taking large gulps is the first thing I instruct my patients to do. Your body is only capable of absorbing a little amount of water at one time. When you chug a whole glass in only a few seconds, the majority of it bypasses the system that is responsible for providing fuel to your cells. Consuming liquids at a slow and steady pace throughout the day helps maintain the ideal consistency of your blood, which ensures that blood flow remains smooth and that erections are more dependable. Flooding your body is not the goal. The goal is to provide it with nourishment. Secondly, I suggest that you consume it when in a seated position. It may not appear to be a big deal, but when you are in a state of calm and relaxation, your body reacts in a different manner. Sitting promotes more effective digestion and enables circulation to regulate more efficiently, especially the fragile blood vessels located in the pelvic region. Many men laugh when I bring this up, but when they actually do it, they frequently feel that their stomach is lighter and their bodies are more relaxed. In addition, there is a practice that originated in ancient times, which current science is just beginning to comprehend, allowing the water to mingle with saliva before to swallowing. Take a sip, keep it inside your mouth, and leave it there for a second. Your saliva is alkaline and contains enzymes that help your body prepare for absorption. I've had older men give this a try, and they have reported that after doing so, they feel less bloated and more rejuvenated, as though their bodies are expressing their gratitude. And last but not least, keep an eye on the temperature. Even while ice water may give the appearance of being a delightful beverage, it pushes your body to exert more effort, which slows down digestion and drains your vitality. In contrast, water that is at room temperature or heated promotes the smooth circulation of blood and the absorption of nutrients. It gives the impression of being milder due to the fact that it is actually milder, and your body is able to make better use of it. Though each of these little habits may appear to be common, together they bring about significant transformation. They support your blood, hormones, and energy, and they replenish strength where it is most needed. However, time is just as important as technique, and the majority of guys make a mistake when it comes to this aspect. Now, let's discuss the best times to drink water in order to ensure that your sexual health is genuinely protected. 6. The United States of America is the country with the highest per capita rate of gun ownership. Over the years, I have found that guys typically make the assumption that being hydrated just involves consuming a certain amount of water. However, timing matters just as much. As long as they are drinking enough water, they believe their bodies will respond accordingly. However, the timing of your water intake is just as crucial as the amount of water you consume. I have witnessed both of these outcomes countless times in my profession, as timing can either operate in harmony with your body's natural rhythm or it can utterly upset it. Let's take the nighttime as an example. Before going to bed, a lot of men drink a lot of water, believing that they are doing something healthy for themselves. But what transpires is what? They get out of bed 2 or 3 times throughout the night in order to go to the bathroom. They wake up feeling fatigued the next morning since their sleep has been disrupted. What they are not aware of is that these overnight disruptions deprive them of the deep, restorative sleep in which testosterone is naturally produced. Their energy, mood, and sexual health all start to deteriorate when they do not have a consistent level of testosterone. It is a minor error, but it accumulates over time and results in a major reduction in energy and liveliness. Consuming an excessive amount of water shortly following meals is another frequent error that people make. Your stomach depends on strong acid to digest food. When you take big gulps of water, you dilute that acid, which causes digestion to slow down. After eating, guys have told me that they feel fatigued, bloated, and weighed down. And when we took a closer look, we found that drinking at the inappropriate times was typically the culprit. They had enhanced digestion, stable energy, and no longer carried that tired feeling into the evening by just waiting 30 minutes after eating before doing anything else. Even nutritious fruits such as watermelon or oranges, which are naturally packed with water, might cause difficulties if you add water on top of them. Your body is only able to process a certain amount of fluids at a time, and the consequences of this might include inadequate absorption, pain, and a loss of nutrients. One of the areas of hydration that is most frequently neglected is learning how to give your body the space and balance that it needs. The most effective times to consume water are those when your body is naturally craving it. These times include first thing in the morning to revitalize circulation, mid-morning to maintain focus, and mid-afternoon when energy levels often drop. When you synchronize with these rhythms, you maintain a stable and prepared system rather than one that is encumbered and out of step. The saying that timing is everything could not be more accurate. Hydration then transforms from a tedious task into a source of power, vitality, and connection with oneself. It is a matter of using water as a means of cultivating energy, strength, and a deeper connection with your own body when you have learned to honor the rhythm of your body. That question, of course, is the next big question that every male asks me. How much water is truly sufficient? You may be surprised by the response. 7. The year 2007 saw the release of the album Graduation. How much is sufficient? One of the most frequently asked questions that guys ask me is, "Doctor, how much water do I actually need to drink every day?" And it is a reasonable inquiry because we have been inundated with a variety of responses for many years. Drink 8 glasses of water, each with a volume equal to half of your body weight in ounces, until you are no longer thirsty. In reality, there is no set formula that applies to everyone's body because it does not function in a one-size-fits-all manner. Regardless, dependable rules exist that can ensure that the majority of guys remain on track. You will be aware of whether or not you are doing it correctly after you discover how to tune into your body. Throughout my years of practice, I have discovered that the majority of men over the age of 60 flourish when they drink approximately 2.5 to 3 liters of water on a regular basis. That often amounts to about 10 to 12 glasses spread out throughout the day. However, the most significant element is this. The amount of water you require as an individual varies depending on your size, your level of physical activity, and even the location in which you reside. An individual in Minnesota during the cold months will require less than a 1 in Arizona under the summer sun. Your body is continuously providing you with signals. You only need to know how to interpret them. The color of your urine is one of the most straightforward and dependable signs. You are at the perfect spot if the color is a light shade of yellow. Your body is flying a red flag and asking for water if the situation is dark. If you are drinking water all the time and your urine is crystal clear, you may really be drinking too much, which can cause electrolytes to be flushed out and your kidneys to get strained. Simply pouring water in is not the only thing involved. It is a matter of finding equilibrium, and that equilibrium varies from one individual to another. The image of an older gentleman who used to boast about the fact that he drank gallons of water every day comes to mind. He was of the opinion that there was never such a thing as too much. Cramps, exhaustion, and frequent trips to the bathroom that disrupted his sleep were all issues that he complained to me about. We were able to resolve the issues by making his intake level more reasonable and consistent. He came to the realization that overhydrating was not something that his body appreciated. It was finding it difficult to cope. So how much is considered sufficient? Enough to maintain a consistent level of energy, keep your urine a pale yellow color, and ensure that your body operates efficiently. It is less about pursuing a specific figure and more about establishing stability. Your blood will stay thin enough to flow, your hormones will remain balanced, and your body will be prepared for intimacy whenever you require it if you stay hydrated in a gentle and consistent manner. Now, allow me to show you where I would want for you to go next. Even if you drink the proper number of fluids at the proper times, it is only normal to feel disheartened when your performance is not what it previously was. This is another reason why reassurance is equally as important as scientific evidence. I would like to demonstrate to you why your narrative is far from done and why there is still so much optimism that lies ahead. Compute the product of all of the prime numbers that are greater than 7 but less than 18. Reassurance on an emotional level. I would like to take a break here and talk to you not only as a physician but also as a person who has been with thousands of guys who have felt precisely the way that you might be feeling at this very now. A significant number of my patients visit me with an expression of sadness visible in their eyes. They report to me that they no longer feel like their former selves. They murmur to one another about how their erections are not as powerful as they used to be, how their vitality is waning, and how closeness has become a source of worry rather than a source of pleasure. There are even individuals who admit that they have completely abandoned their efforts, having been persuaded that aging has stripped them of something that they will never be able to recover. I can assure you that I have heard these words countless times before, and every time I look a man in the eyes and remind him of one truth, that you are not broken. Even when you are 60, 70, or even older, your body is capable of doing far more than you give it credit for. I have witnessed men who believe that the finest years of their lives were in the past find renewed vitality, enthusiasm, and self-confidence that they never anticipated experiencing again. It did not happen as a result of a miraculous drug or a mysterious supplement. It happened as a result of the straightforward, consistent choices that they made that brought equilibrium back to their bodies. It was common for them to start by drinking plenty of water, but what was actually important was their sense that change was still within their grasp. It is common knowledge that comparing oneself to the man that one used to be is an easy thing to do. Perhaps you recall the vitality that you experienced in your 30s, or the self-assurance that you possessed in your 40s, and now you are feeling that difference more than ever before. However, I can guarantee that that disparity can be reduced. Your body may have gotten older, but it still responds to the care, attention, and habits that support it in a positive way. Every effort you make to prioritize your health and every sip of water you take the correct way is a message you send to yourself. I am not going to give up. I am still entitled to energy. I have seen guys light up with excitement when they discover that their erections are getting stronger, when they have the stamina to experience intimacy once more, and when their spouses take notice of the difference and respond with affection. That spark has not yet been extinguished. The truth is out there. All you have to do is discover it. You do not have to resign yourself to decline. It is not an inevitable part of your future. You have the ability to write a new chapter that is brimming with energy, connection, and pride. Therefore, do not allow yourself to become disheartened. You still have the ability to get better. Furthermore, if reassurance provides you with optimism, the truth that I will reveal to you next will provide you with clarity. All of it can be traced down to a single, straightforward fact that connects everything together. So that is the bottom line. Water is essential for more than simply surviving. It serves as the basis for every aspect of your well-being. Let's get this all wrapped up. A. The number 1,000,000 is equal to 10 to the 6th power. At this point, you have familiarized yourself with the scientific evidence, the narratives, and the routines. However, I will summarize it for you in the manner that I communicate it to my patients. When you are feeling thirsty, drinking water is not the only reason you consume it. It is the source of your health, your vitality, and yes, your erections. You are deciding how your body will perform, how your hormones will balance, and how much energy you will have for the day every time you take a sip. I have witnessed men who had previously believed that their decline was irreversible undergo a transformation simply by acknowledging the role that hydration plays in their lives. Give it some consideration. The very substance that powers an erection is your blood, which is composed primarily of water. When the body does not receive adequate hydration, blood flow becomes sluggish and thick, which limits its ability to travel to areas of the body that require it. Cortisol levels increase, and stress is placed on your body when you become dehydrated, which causes testosterone, the hormone that influences your strength and desire, to decrease. Energy, the force that gets you through the day and into the night, diminishes when your cells cry out for the water that they are lacking. And what starts out as a small instance of negligence, such as forgetting to drink water, drinking water the wrong way, or drinking water at the wrong times, develops into a habit that erodes your confidence and performance little by little over the years. However, the opposite is just as accurate. Everything begins to change when you take slow sips of water, when you sit and allow your body to absorb it in a calm manner, when you choose warmth rather than shock and synchronize your drinking with the rhythm of your body. Energy levels increase, Hormones stabilize, blood flows more freely, and you start to perceive that spark of life once again. I have witnessed men who have begun drinking water with purpose, walk with greater confidence, speak with more self-assurance, and gaze at their partners with a glimmer that they believed they had lost forever. The most important thing to remember is both straightforward and significant. Water is not the only thing that is necessary for survival. It is related to performance. It is self-assurance. It is the silent key to closeness that so many men fail to recognize. And the best part is that you can get started right away. A prescription is not necessary. There are no complicated routines. When taken in the proper manner, all it takes is a single glass of water. That small action can have an impact on every aspect of your life, serving as a reminder that qualities such as health, strength, and passion do not have an expiration date. Therefore, as you keep this idea in your thoughts, I would like you to imagine what your life would be like if you were to fully embrace it. This narrative does not revolve around water exclusively. Its conclusion encompasses other elements as well. It is related to the concept of what water symbolizes, the possibility of renewal at any age. And I would like to conclude by leaving you with precisely that. Conclusion. As this conversation draws to a close, I would like you to take a moment to pause and give this some serious consideration before moving on. Expensive treatments and complicated prescriptions are not the keys to stronger erections, increased energy, and renewed self-confidence. It has always been there, right in front of your faces. It is water, the most straightforward natural tool that your body has been yearning for since the moment you came into the world. For decades, I have worked as a urologist, listening to men describe their challenges, such as fatigue, a diminished libido, and the quiet anxiety that they are losing a part of themselves. And time and again, I have witnessed how something as fundamental as hydration can transform not only their health, but also the way they perceive themselves as men. We've examined the scientific evidence together. We have witnessed how the basis of blood flow is water, and how a lack of water can cause circulation to slow down and erections to weaken. We have examined hormones, particularly testosterone, and how the imbalance that is brought on by dehydration increases stress and reduces desire. We have previously discussed the exhaustion that men experience every day, which is that heavy burden, as well as the simple fact that drinking water in the correct manner can help to revitalize one's focus and energy levels. We've uncovered the errors that many people make, such as drinking too much at night, chugging at the wrong times, or flooding the body when it is unable to absorb it. We've exchanged those errors for habits instead, choosing to sit quietly, taking slow sips, allowing the saliva to perform its function, and deciding to embrace warmth rather than shock. Moreover, we have gained an understanding of the importance of timing. The timing of when you drink is just as important as the amount you drink. Maintaining harmony with the rhythm of your body in the morning, at midday, and in the afternoon ensures that your system is in a state of balance and preparedness. Rather than just looking at the numbers, we have learned to assess success by listening to the signals that your body sends, ranging from your energy level to the color of your urine. And beyond the science, we've touched upon its heart, the reassurance that you are not broken, that your story is not finished, and that with intention and care, you can still experience vitality, intimacy, and joy. This is the most important thing to remember. Water is essential for more than simply surviving. It is related to flourishing or prospering. It is related to self-confidence. It is related to closeness and familiarity. And it is related to taking back control of a portion of your life that you believed was no longer possible. I have witnessed men in their 60th, 70th, and even 80th decades of life find new purpose in themselves just by making one step. I truly believe that you are capable of doing it as well. Therefore, as you set this video aside and pick up your glass, keep in mind that every drink you take brings you one step closer to renewal. You are sending a message to your body with each and every decision that you are still committed to your well-being, your vitality, and your manhood. then think about what else could be possible if you continue to be committed to taking care of yourself, especially when something as basic as water can be the catalyst for change. That is the trip, gentlemen, that I invite you to embark on. Before we finish up, gentlemen, I would like to address you with complete honesty. Do not let this be the end of the line if this message has struck a chord with you, if you have learned even one thing today that has instilled in you optimism. In the comments box below, let us know what you learned today and what change you intend to make. We all develop when we share. Let's assist each other. If you found this video to be even the slightest bit insightful or beneficial in any way, please remember to click the like button. Make sure that you do not miss out on any information that may have an impact on your health by clicking on the subscribe button. Before you go, make sure the bell is switched on. Input the number 1 if you found this video to be of assistance. If not, enter the number 0. It may not be apparent to you how significant your comment is. At this point, take a break to show your support for this community that we are building together. By giving this video a thumbs up, you assist in getting it in front of more men who require the knowledge that they are not alone and that there are actual, straightforward remedies available to them. When you share this information, you could be bestowing a friend, brother, father, or even another man with the knowledge that could transform his self-confidence, well-being, and even his relationships with others. You aren't simply speaking to me when you leave a comment, whether it is a short one to say that it was helpful or a lengthier tale about your personal experience. You are motivating every man who sees your comment to continue fighting for his health. In addition, if you feel so inclined, you may take it a step further and support this channel by making a donation. Every contribution, regardless of its size, enables me to continue developing high-quality health advice that is based on scientific research and specifically tailored to the needs of men over 60 years of age. It allows me to keep these films free of charge, easily available, and centered on providing you with the skills that you deserve. Think of it as investing not just in yourself, but in a brotherhood of men who are opting for strength, vitality, and regeneration. Like, share, comment, and if you are able to, donate. We can ensure the continuation of this movement and guarantee that men all around the world remain strong, self-assured, and powerful if we work together.